Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Skull.
I'm Zombie Cat.
And this is the Horror Den. Now, today we are covering part 2 of The Storm of the Century. Things are heating up.
Yep, things are starting to get into the meat and taters of the show. The first episode, of course, just a brief recap. A man comes into town named Linoge. He kills somebody, and he starts just kind of ripping these people a new one with everything he knows about their secrets. And not really too much happens in episode 1, but it's still intriguing. But this is the episode where we're starting to learn things.
But in the first episode, his cane comes to life. He, like, multiple times has, like, this moment where he shows fangs and his eyes turn red and black at different intervals. And, like, people are offing themselves, and they're leaving this message behind that he has mentioned a couple of times. Give me what I want and I will leave.
Yep. Go away.
Yeah. So go ahead for spoiler warning ahead for part 2 of Storm of the Century.
Yeah. Please go watch it. It's currently on Hulu if you have Hulu. If not, it's on DVD for very cheap. So, starting with this episode, it picks right up where the last one left off. It gives you a little recap of what happened. So right now, everybody's freaking out because of what just happened at the end of episode 1, where I can't remember their names. One dangled himself. One dangled himself and one hit his face with axe.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best way to describe it. But
the blunt end of an axe. Just pretend.
Yeah,
it was the blunt end, but he died somehow.
But the guy who was with the guy on the docks, that he was, he painted on the side of the car the message, and then hit himself. We'll leave it at that. We see the guy on the docks like screaming about like all the water running in, and he finds him dead. And also at the same time, we see Hatch find the other guy that was with Andre dead.
Yeah.
With the same with a message like
it's what he was scribbling down so much while he was on the computer. And it's all I don't remember if we mentioned this little crossword puzzle game he was playing, and the whole screen is
I think we did mention it, but it was doing it again.
It was pretty cool. So essentially the dude who was at the boathouse is rushing into town, if I remember. This is how it kicks off.
He goes directly to the library or the town hall or wherever.
Everyone also that starts out in Robbie after being a smartass in the first episode, he is like, ring the bell, and everyone's coming to is it a church?
I think it's like a town hall.
Town hall, church.
Yeah, it's like a centralized part of town.
It's where they had all the beds and stuff.
Yeah, I think it might be the library.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, this is a small place, so
yeah,
I mean,
very small. They have one jail cell.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, and they don't even have a jail. It's just
it's
in the back of the store.
It's a poorly welded cell. He's running into town, and everybody's just flooding in. The storm is in full force now. It's wreaking havoc, just destroying stuff. This guy, he's freaking out, and people are telling him to get out of the way, and they're like, "What's wrong?" And he's like, He's dead. He freaking chopped his head. Just at that point, everything is starting to go into chaos because 2 people have done this at the same time. So now they're trying to...
Well, they don't know about one of them.
That's what I'm saying. There's 2 things, and there's people worried about different scenarios right now. So at this point, I think Mike is heading to, because it left off in episode 1 where he was taking pictures of...
Right. Well, he came back, and Hatch has
now
to explain the situation to him, and they're while this is going on, the event, so the guy arrives at the, I'm going to say the shelter, because that's where they are, and Ursula, the lady who helped Mike put together the fallout bunker kind of deal going on, turns out her fiance was the one who offed himself looking at Andre. And so she's trying to radio to Mike at the constable's office. The antenna fell down in the previous episode, so there was a bad reception. So he sends Hatch out to the car to pick them up on the CB radio.
Yeah.
And he goes. He conveniently leaves out the fact that Ursula's fiance did what he did.
Yeah.
And they find out about the other incident across town. And so that kind of causes this kind of commotion where it's like, what was I supposed to tell her?
Yeah, exactly. Is this the point when Hatch gets sent out to the car and he steps outside after phoning Ursula? And I think he runs into Robbie after this, but he steps outside of the car and he sees Linoge in the window. That's pretty scary.
But Mike sends Hatch and another guy who's with him.
Yeah.
To go and meet, like go to the place where the other body was found and kind of like make sure that everything goes smooth and kind of figure out what was going on. And so Hatch and the other guy gets into the car and they go to the boathouse or the fire station. That's where it was, the fire station. And they they come across the town manager and the other guy that's with him. I'm sorry, we're terrible with names if you haven't.
Well, there's a lot of people in this.
Right. It's a whole town.
It literally is. You see so many people.
But they like stop in the middle of the roadway and they have this exchange of information.
Yeah, they're screaming at Robbie. They're like, you gotta get down here and help. And he's like, we need to go to the town hall or something like that.
This is no place for this discussion.
Yeah, and I can't remember what he says. He's like, once this storm blows over, I'll make sure everybody knows you did not come. And that, of course, changes his mind because his partner was even like, let's go.
Well, yeah, Mike told him to get the guy that was with Robbie because he needed to come and I guess investigate what was going on at the constable
They probably
office.
just wanted more people to feel comfortable. Like they're trying to build this big buddy system. And essentially Robbie finally agrees and they head back to the jail cell. And
okay, so they meet with the town manager and the guy that Mike wants to come back to the constable's office. They go. Linoge pulls some more mind trickery, pulling things out of a hat. Like, for example, Mike cheated on a midterm exam in college.
He's telling him that'd be a good bedtime story to tell his kid. Even his wife doesn't know that. And it doesn't seem like Mike has too much dirt on him. It's like he could have went so hard and he just...
Or he's choosing not to, for some reason.
I feel like Mike is supposed to be, like, a pretty good guy, though.
Yeah.
Even from the spiel we got in the first episode where he's like, I left that town behind because some bad stuff went on that I didn't like.
Right. Which I have a weird feeling like he might not have a lot of dirt, but I feel like probably his wife has done something. I don't really know yet. I just have this like eking feeling. Like,
you'll have to wait and see.
I don't know. I don't even know if that's even a word, eking. I probably made up.
Eking?
But anyway, so more creepy stuff around Linoge happens, and meanwhile we cut over to the shelter where we see Kat from earlier in the movie, with the boyfriend named Billy who was cheating on her and she had the abortion. Well, they decide.
Also, I think it's a little bit of an Easter egg. She went up to Derry to have.
Yeah, Derry's mentioned a couple times. Like, even Hatch says that he'll feel comfortable when Linoge is in Derry County Jail.
Isn't it? What was I about to say? Isn't Derry in Maine too?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
all of Stephen King's stuff is right there.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. It's like, there's no way that's not the same Derry.
If I'm not mistaken, I feel like there's a line in a Stephen King book where somebody goes to Derry and they actually spot a clown peeking out from.
Yeah, I've heard the theories, and I think it's all connected with like the Dark Tower or something.
Yeah,
like
probably.
That. I don't know which movies and art and not, and I don't know.
Fact check us, smite lad. But anyway, so we cut back to the shelter with Kat and Billy. Kat goes out back after being sent to help him with, like, I guess ration supplies. I don't know. It's like a shed full of stuff.
And she just starts tearing him a new one, and This is probably the only character who I think's acting was a little bit cheesy. He acted a lot like Hayden Christensen, with like
I hate sand.
yeah, he kind of had that whole like groany, whiny vibe to him that he had in like the first two prequel movies.
He just keeps throwing up the fact like that she did this abortion without him knowing. That's his only argument. And she has like this whole treasure trove of like, why did you do this to me? Like, I knew about this the whole time. That's why I had the abortion. And he just, well, you murdered our child. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was like, I mean, even if I did tell you that I had a kid, then you would just complain that you are now stuck with me, essentially. So, this happens, and Kat turns around, and she's basically crying because she wanted to save the relationship if they could, but she was like, this is beyond saving, I agree. That sounds like a hot mess.
While this is going on, too, at the constable's office, Linoge is, like, muttering, and, like, he's standing now and, like, doing things with his hands, like mimicking a walking motion and all this other stuff. It turns out he's mimicking exactly what's happening in our scene that we're seeing on the other end.
And now he's controlling Billy, essentially, like completely hypnotized him, and he's doing all the motions inside of the jail cell, and he makes him pick up a paint can, and the paint can has the picture of the wolf cane on it, which is pretty cool. And he turns around, and while Linoge is doing this, he makes him raise up the paint can, but it's a fake out, and he's like, instead he makes him realize what a piece of crap he is, and he drops the cane.
No, Linoge, Linoge does the action of swinging, but Billy doesn't do it. And he's like, she's right, you are a coward.
Yeah.
So then...
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And Kat walks away, and then he starts muttering about it's right there at the doorstep, and she sees the wolf cane sitting it like straight up in the snow, and she grabs it, and then Linoge is in control of her.
Yeah, and Kat, on the other hand, I feel like he's starting to sing I'm a Little Teapot again at this point.
Probably.
He sings that song so much. It comes back a lot, but he's controlling Kat now, and she's walking back to the shed completely hypnotized, and she starts wailing on Billy's head with the cane.
It's a really cool shot. It's switching between her and Linoge, and like
doing the
motions.
It's really cool.
Reminds me of Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, like, and then he's doing that thing.
Yeah, very similar to that. And they're like, what are you doing? They're like freaking out in the constable's office, and he turns around and just like hisses at them or screams, and it makes the light freaking burst inside of the room, and he turns back around and he keeps wailing.
Oh yeah, he says shut up, or like and it just, the light busts.
And she kills him, and then there is loud screaming, and the girls inside of the town hall, that's what we'll just go with, town hall, they're like, I hear a scream, and this lady and her mean old mom, the mean old mom is like, it's the wind, that's what it's doing right now, it's screaming. It's like, shut up. But this old lady's daughter, she's kind of freaked out, and she's like, I'm gonna go check it out, and she walks outside, and of course a lot of suspense build up, and she finds Kat in the corner singing I'm a Little Teapot.
Yeah, she says that the cane made her do it. The wolf cane made her do it, and she would advise not to touch it. Yeah. And then she starts singing I'm a Little Teapot. Fun little thing. So meanwhile at the constable's office, now that this is all taking part, they have kind of rigged up this mirror system. Or has that happened yet? Yeah. No, I think it's about to happen. So at this point, the lady who was the daughter of the mean old lady finds Kat. They bring her in. Some of the town dudes are being a little... Well, I understand why they're being this way, but they're being dickheads. Take her to the constable's office so she can be locked up in jail because she's a murderer, and all this other stuff. And she's like, she wouldn't do this. And so Ursula and her the daughter of the old mean lady, decide that they need to go tell Mike about what's going on.
And I think she said she also had a hunch that something was wrong, so she wanted to
like
go.
had this psychic feeling that something was wrong with Peter, that something's happened to him. So she gets on the snowmobile with this guy, and then at this point this is when they encounter and find out about Kat and all this, and we're kind of going around in a circle here, but they get on the snowmobile, just these two ladies, and they go to Mike's office. When they arrive, they find Peter's dead body on the outside. Ursula obviously is very upset, and so Ursula was given a message by Mike's wife to bring him home, and he can have as many guys as he needs there for watch and whatever. So he agrees to go after things kind of settle down. So Mike goes back with them to the town hall. Meanwhile, they have this really cool setup right here.
We also can't forget, there's murmurings now. Robbie, or Robert, he whispers into Mike's ear before he leaves. He's like, we could just kill this dude. You know what I mean?
No one has to know.
Yeah, just shoot him, man.
And Mike's like, we'll know.
Yeah.
So they have this really cool setup where Robbie and this other dude, they're sitting in the jail cell, like right in front of it, watching Linoge, and they have this mirror set up to where the guys who are in the store that are playing cards right now, not on watch, can actually see what's going on. So everybody always has eyes on what's going on inside that room. And the guy behind Robbie falls asleep, and Robbie is seeing his mother in the jail cell.
It's creepy. This is probably the scariest part in the episode.
And she's like, "Oh, where is I need my son," and all this. And then so Robbie decides to grab the gun, which we missed this earlier in the episode, but this gun has fired once already in this episode. This guy was goaded by Linoge, and he takes a shot, and it actually scathes Mike right on the side. And Linoge catches the bullet.
Yeah,
it's really cool. But also the reason that this occurred is because this character, one of the secrets that we're being told is that him and a group of guys actually really beat up this gay guy, which happens often in Stephen King novels. And he actually liked him.
Yeah, all three of them. He said all three of them actually liked the way his hair and the way he walked and stuff like that. But I guess they blinded the dude in his left eye. They beat him so hard. And he was telling them that every day he's like hoping that his vision comes back. Mm-hmm. Like he's still just off by himself. It's like, and he's like, you still think about him. You still think about that curly blonde hair and stuff like that, and the way he walked.
Yeah, but we had to go back and mention that. But anyway, fast forward. Robbie is seeing his mother in the jail cell, and his mom, he grabs the gun and is like approaching, and Hatch sees this happening, and he's like, they run over to stop, and the door's shut.
Can't forget the snake.
Yeah, it's the, his gun turns into a snake.
Yeah, and when he's like, I'm gonna shoot you right now, and she's like, with that? And he looks down, it turned into a freaking snake, and he drops it. And you can't forget that while she was murmuring about, like, essentially just, where were you at, and stuff like that, I'm dying with strangers, and she's like, when you get to hell, I'm gonna eat your eyes over and over. And once again, it's about repetition.
Yeah, hell is repetition. So yeah, the doors have closed, and I forget, does he have his cane all of a sudden, and like the light shows from the eyes of the cane and like illuminates the room as he has like his demonic fangs out, and like the whole room erupts in this light, and almost like a storm is going on within. And Hatch is trying to open the door with an axe, like true Here's Johnny style from The Shining. And like this hole in the wall busts open from the outside.
We also get to see Linoge's true form. He looks like just some kind of wizard, like an ancient wizard.
He kind of looks like Gandalf.
Yeah,
but he like roars, and the front, like the door of the cell just falls and almost hits Robbie. But they finally get in the room, and we see the form of Linoge, and he looks at Hatch as everybody's like really scared. Hatch is almost in like this daze, and he's like, tell my message, give me what I want and I'll go away. and he just walks off into the storm.
And he vanishes for a while.
Yep.
I believe this is also around the point where that cranky old lady from earlier talking about the screaming in the wind, she goes into the bathroom, I guess getting ready to go to sleep, and
This happens a little bit before he leaves. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
she is doing her makeup, and of course she's singing I'm a little teacup, or I'm a teapot. She gets her, you just see her wind her makeup, and I think it cuts away for a minute. I don't think it shows anything.
Yeah.
But when another character walks in, they just see that she drowned herself in a sink, and she literally wrote, "Give me what I want and I'll go away," across all 3 of the mirrors. And she drowned inside of a sink.
Now we see Mike, Ursula, and the lady who's now dead, her daughter, arrive at Town Hall. And, you know, all hell's breaking loose because they find another dead body and all the stuff that's going on with Billy being dead. I can't imagine being Mike right now. But his, there's this whole commotion going on. They decide to put the body of the lady with Billy out in the shed. And, you know, Mike has to go back. He gets some more guys to come with him. And his wife kind of stops him as he's leaving, and she's like, "You should make this guy have an accident. If he's doing this. If he's doing this, you should make him disappear." And Mike has this look almost like he doesn't even recognize his wife for a second.
Yeah, he's like, why would you even suggest that?
That feeds into my theory that the wife has done something. And we don't know it yet.
I feel like it's just he's such a good guy, and everyone around him, he's starting to see true color almost.
Yeah, but he just saw true color in his wife. Which, I'm sorry, I really think that something's coming with that. I might be wrong, but, you know, it's just a little, like, scratching at the back of my mind kind of thing that there's going to be a reveal there.
After see. So, at this point, sorry if we get this mixed up. There's just a lot that happens really fast. These are only 1.5-hour episodes, but we believe this is the point. They're all kind of just settled down, and Mike is listening to like a televangelist, essentially, who's screaming hallelujah and amen, stuff like that. And as he's falling asleep, he's like, hallelujah. But
amen.
It's really cool. He starts to have a dream, and essentially it's the future. It's like maybe a few days or a week after this storm hit Little Tall, and this reporter is saying the only people that were found were the 2 unalivings and the 2 people that were kind of bludgeoned, and everyone else just vanished without a trace. And everyone, you learn, is having this same exact dream, because you see Davey from the first episode, the basketball kid, and the news reporter is like, "You're too short to play basketball, Davey."
All I know is you're too damn short to play basketball.
Yeah. And then it's showing Mike's perspective again, and he's showing them all. Before this, it goes into the only time this has ever happened was like this town or village. I can't remember.
It's Roanoke.
Yeah. And essentially this same exact thing happened, and all they found was a carving in a tree that said
Croatoan.
Yeah. And
or Croton, or how
I think it was Croton.
It's however you want to pronounce
Yeah.
it. I've heard it multiple ways.
But the whole village completely vanished after an evil presence appeared, and it cuts back to Mike's perspective, and it shows everybody in the town lined up holding their kids, essentially, which is super dark. And they all have Croton written across their heads, and they're just falling into the water one by one, being like, "We should have just gave him what he wanted, and then he would have went away and left us alone." Like, one by one, they're all kind of just saying the same thing over and over, and Mike is like, no, then I think that's what jolts him awake. And at this point, once again, the storm is wreaking absolute havoc, and I believe they are in the town halls, kind of like church. When someone comes in, they're like, the lighthouse is about to freaking collapse, so you guys have to come see this. I'm like, I'd be keeping my ass inside. I'm like, I don't want to go outside. There's a killer on the loose.
I really want to know how they did some of these shots.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you can tell there's CG, but then there's times it just looks so good. I don't know.
Like the city destruction looks real, to be honest.
Also, I can't remember if it was while they were dreaming or maybe this happens right before the lighthouse collapse. Linoge, you see him for the first time in a while standing at the top of the lighthouse, and as he's walking down, it's starting to like get destroyed and I think get flooded a little bit, and on the, I guess, like monitors, it's saying, give me what I want and I'll go away. And that's the last we see of him, I think, for the rest of the episode. And they all go outside, and it's like a complete whiteout almost, but they're all watching the lighthouse, and this thing is getting like completely just toppled by the amount of water just flushing over the lighthouse. It's really cool. And they're all like, you think it's gonna go down? It's like, no shit. But what's spooky is Davy, I believe, is talking to someone, but then magically she just gets pulled backwards. Like a few people just get completely just snatched back, and everybody's starting to freak out again. Once again, it's like, why are y'all even going outside in the first place? The lighthouse did collapse, by the way. It completely fell into the ocean, and people are getting snatched, and the dude who beat up the gay guy, I can't remember his name, he essentially is like screaming for his wife. She got kidnapped, like a lot of people, but they're back inside of the church, and I think at this point they're all freaking out. He's wanting to get a search party together for this dude's wife, essentially, because he's like, how are we just gonna let him sit out there? And Robbie's like, we send out one search party, they're gonna go missing, and then what do we do? Send out another? He's like, what are we gonna do? Just sit here? He's like, yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do. But I can't remember. I think this might be around the time, I feel like they're trying to just like gather entertainment for the kids, like board games and card games and stuff like that. And Mike, once again, we probably have this jumbled up just a little bit because, like I said, so much is happening right here at the end. They're in this building, it's like a pre-K or something like that, and he notices these blocks that happen to be perfectly lettered to spell out Linoge, and he starts quoting the Bible, which you probably know more about what he's talking about than I do. But
he mentions the Bible verse where I don't know the name, but it's talking about how Jesus come upon this basically evil man whose soul had been corrupted by demons, and he asked for their name, and they responded with, we are legion, for we are many. And he put them into a pig, and then the pig jumped off into a river. So he takes the letters and he moves them around. I think it's called an anagram.
Yeah, it's kind of like Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, it turns out Linoge spells legion, and we see it written out in the blocks. And
so I guess we learn now that he was a demon.
I think it's more accurate to say he is a collection of demons.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's fair. Well, it gets explained in the third episode, obviously, but so that happens. They get back, and at this point, some spooky shit's going on. All the kids are playing pin the tail on the donkey. The little kid Donnie's being a little shit like always, who of course is Robbie's kid. We haven't mentioned how annoying this kid is yet.
He's so annoying that apparently his mom is planning to leave his husband and take him with her.
Yeah, because
I don't know, like, why. We don't really know.
I feel like his attitude is spoiling the kid, right? Because he's like, I'm not cleaning up. My dad's gonna give me a donut. It's like, shut up, dude. And he was also bullying the little girl who was stuck in the first episode and stuff. He's
annoying.
A condomad, that's what he is.
Thanks.
But he essentially runs upstairs. My dad's gonna give me a donut, and the kids are picking up, and Ralphie is cleaning because he's cool.
His little fairy saddle.
Yep. And he starts hearing a voice from the closet saying like, Ralphie, kind of like that. It's super scary. It's like nightmare stuff you think of when you're a kid. Is someone in the closet, but he's essentially telling him to come here. I think he's like cracking the closet door open, and the episode essentially just ends with Ralphie going into the closet with Linoge. It's like,
Legion.
Oh, yeah, Legion.
And that's where we leave off for part 2.
A bigger cliffhanger on this one. It's just like, oh man, it's about to go down. So,
yeah, definitely a step up from the first episode. The atmosphere is still there. However, it's just like an escalation, and I can't wait to see how it ends. So again, today there will be no scoring as we have not finished the full product. Also, sorry for our absence last week. Our camera guy, D-Mac, was sick last week, and so we took a week off, and we will also not be posting another video the week after this is posted, as work schedules have really prevented us from being able to get together this holiday season. So please forgive us of our absence as of late.
It'll give you more time to go watch Storm of the Century.
So that means that this will be our last video of the year, I believe. Yep. Or one of. I think maybe part 3 might be our last one. Maybe. I have to look at a calendar. I don't have one in front of me. But if it is our last episode, we hope everybody has a good Christmas and a great New Year. And, whatever else you celebrate, hope you have a good holiday. This has been our first year as a channel. Coming into a new year, and we're hoping to continue to grow with your consistent support. If you want to say hi, let us know down in the comments, and we respond, whether it be me or Zombie Cat here. We also have our editor Smite Lad. He comments on people's sometimes. So, just start a conversation. If you like what we're doing here, make sure you give us a like. If you aren't subscribed, please do so.
On our first video, we got a few comments talking about like how underrated this was, which was really cool. That there were some people that found our video that were also like, this is such a good mini-series. So that was pretty awesome to see. But besides that, we have a Patreon that you could support. We're getting very close to getting our first capture card for gaming content in the future. So if you'd like to join the Patreon and have your name up just like this at the end of every single one of our videos, feel free to do so. It's as low as $5 a month. All proceeds come right back to the channel. And that's really about it for this episode.
And like always, if you do decide to become a patron, we are still in the works of making it a little more worth it, like with some like exclusive content and stuff like that.
We just need time.
Yeah, just some time.
Funds.
We're doing this completely in our spare time. We are not making money off of this at all. And so, maybe if one day this channel continues to grow and we are able to get some kind of financial return in any kind of capacity, maybe some more content will come more frequently. It's just we all three have full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And so, life gets in the way. But anyway, we hope that you have a great holiday. If we don't see you before then, thank you so much for tuning into our series so far. Thank you for making this first full year as a channel amazing.
We're coming up on a year anniversary, not too long.
We'll have to start thinking a little bit ahead about what we're going to do then. Hopefully this next upcoming year we have a lot of big plans. Hopefully we continue to grow as a channel. Maybe we'll hit our first benchmark. We got our fingers crossed. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in, and hope you have a good holiday, and more importantly than anything else, stay spooky out there.